We're going to the Florida Keys. Recognize this road? Of course you do. Once again, we are on our way to the Florida Keys, driving down the overseas highway. If you follow my videos, you've seen it a couple of times before, twice this year actually, and you'll see it again, I promise. At least one more time this year. We are going across Key Largo, Tavernier, Islamorada. In fact, tomorrow we are going to visit the Theater of the Sea, right here to the left, and we're going to launch the boat at a secluded place down by Summerland Key, and we're going to sample some of the local cuisine, as usual. As we get closer to our destination, we witness one of those magnificent sunsets the Keys are so famous for. We are going to stay here at this place called Fiesta Key RV Resort, which is situated between Lower Metacomb and Long Key State Park. We check in at the gate since it is kind of after hours, and we go look for our site. Since we reserved a little late and it is the 4th of July weekend, the only sites they had available were water and electric only, no sewer, so we're gonna have to be careful not to fill up our holding tanks. This area of the campground is still kind of empty, but I'm sure that will change tomorrow, Friday, when all the weekenders come down from Miami. It's a brand new day, and in the morning we decide to go for a stroll around the campground. You know we like to do that. You can tell some people are here somewhat long-term, well, like everywhere else we've been to. They do have a pretty big marina, lots of people with boats, and that looks like a pretty decent storm up in Islamorada. Once again, we see the storm lurking on the eastern horizon. They have a very well-stocked convenience store, and they have, gas for the boats and propane, the usual stuff. This area to the east has all these park models, I guess for people who don't have RVs and prefer to have a more hotel-like experience. They also have these trailers for rent near the area where we're parked. Hey everybody, we continue here at Fiesta Key. And I just took a Navy shower, what they call a Navy shower, because as you can see, we only have water and electrical. We don't have full hookups. The storm has dissipated, so let's explore. Okay, let's go explore, since there is not a whole lot to do here if you don't have a boat. Some guy towing a boat is blocking the way. Let's go around the other way. Look at the line of people waiting to check in. It is going to be a busy weekend. We head east, or northeast rather, towards Lower Metacomb and Islamorada. We stop here for a moment by the Florida Keys Memorial to the Labor Day Hurricane of 1935, the strongest hurricane in recorded history to make landfall in the United States. This is actually the one that led to the demise of Henry Flagler's Overseas Railroad. Cayo Grill. This is the famous Chef Michael's. We continue. And here we are, the Theater of the Sea. We enter, naturally, through the gift shop. We are going to begin with the bottomless boat ride that begins at 11:30. The star of the show is this dolphin called Sherman.
Starting things off, Sherman's gonna jump through the hoop and ring the bell. Give him a nice round of applause. Let's go, Sherman! Nice, buddy.
It is amazing how well trained these creatures are.
If you guys want to wave goodbye to Sherman. Bye, Sherman. Good job, buddy. This park, there is a lagoon side beach for tropical fish. It's open from 11 to 4. It's super fun.
After the bottomless boat tour, we take this nature walk along this floating boardwalk, and here we see one of Sherman's friends. And there they go again, the next bottomless boat tour. We keep walking along this trail, along the mangroves. We see white mangroves and red mangroves. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but we continue walking along this wooden trail. And here we encounter some parrots, lucky animals. They even have a fan on this torridly hot day. In a few minutes, someone will come to take pictures of us with the parrots, and there will be like a parrot holding opportunity, but I don't really care for that. Next, we go on the guided marine life tour. This turtle with the life preserver was born with a buoyancy disorder and a spinal deformity, according to the explanation they've given us.
We also have snapper, mahara, chub, spadefish, angelfish. Have all been deemed non-releasable for one reason or another.
They also have a great horned owl and alligators. And sharks, of course. You had to have sharks. Yep, it's feeding time.
Any shiny jewelry that you have on before entering the water. And that's because our jewelry tends to sparkle and shimmer a lot like this. Now the reddish-brown sharks that you guys see swimming around in here are nurse sharks. We have 7 adult nurse sharks here in this pool.
Time to go see the American crocodile. And yeah, he is trained too.
Piper weighs about 176 pounds. Now the reason why I can tell you that is because all of our alligators and crocodiles are trained to walk onto a scale.
Next, we're gonna see the Parrots show.
Now Leprechaun is a 29-year-old Verde macaw. And he's also a bit of a table surfer, but I'll get to that a little later.
This parrot is trained to recognize colors and shapes.
7 wings. Good.
They respond to verbal commands.
Here's my something. All right.
This one performs the precarious balancing act of rolling this cylinder.
This one's taken him a pretty long time to learn to do. But parrots are extremely acrobatic and it's kind of a show off.
There we go again.
4 to 4.5 months to learn. And let's do one more thing back now and talk about this. So good. Good job. Very nice work over. Bud, you gonna come with me or you gonna dangle? You're gonna have both. You gonna dangle?
And sometimes they just don't want to cooperate.
Yes. He Fantastic, kid. Can I see your feet, please? Not your feet, your feet. Feet. A little closer.
Wow, this parrot can even do math.
4. All right, put your hand down. Let's see if you can do it. Good job. She's a parrot. 11 minus 6. You ready? That is not very convincing. Are you at least doing your homework? We'll find out.
For Sherman and Pivot!
The dolphin show is also pretty amazing. I find it incredible that for over 20 years I have zoomed past this place and never stopped to see it. I totally recommend it. Come here and visit. And to finish our visit, here's the sea lion show.
Wilbur can also support his entire body weight on those front two flippers. So you'll notice as the ball goes up onto Wilbur's nose, those whiskers pop up. The whiskers don't support the ball, they just help show Wilbur which direction the ball's heading so we can adjust underneath. Good. Alright, check this out. Dribble. He's going to bring it all the way back up to the stage. And then, he'll roll over once, twice, head back to his seat, and get your cameras ready, because he's going to strike a pose. Good boy! Wilbur, can you say yummy? Good boy! Here at Theater of the Sea, they have their very own water slide. Good! Very nice! To get to the bottomless boat ride, you're going to head right down that center pathway. Once you get to the water, take a lap. Good. After the bottom...
I've been craving a rum runner, so let's go next door to the Tiki Bar. It was here that they invented the rum runner after all, but to our disappointment, the Tiki Bar is closed, and it is 2 p.m. already. You would think they would be open by now. There is nothing left of the festive atmosphere of yesteryear. They have turned this place into a sleepy, quiet resort. I remember vividly some years ago a reggae band playing at the stage around this area, and even the bar where the Beach Boys came up with their 80s hit Kokomo is pretty much gone. So effectively, in the Florida Keys there is no longer a place called Kokomo. And that's kind of sad. Well, at least they have some water sports. Well, it's the end of an era. The Tiki Bar is closed. And the famous bar where the Beach Boys wrote that famous song about a place down the Keys called Kokomo That bar is gone too. Anyways, we'll continue. Next, we go to this place called Lazy Days for a waterfront lunch. But there's a long waiting time even though there's hardly anybody and the hostess is kind of rude, so we decided to go back a couple of miles and guess what? Third time's a charm. We end up at the Islamorada Fish Company, right here next to the Bass Pro shop. The food and drinks menu is pretty extensive and I finally get my rum runner fix. Very good. I have the grouper portofino, which is one of the house specialties.
Mira un delfín, no, mira el pescado ese que grande.
Even though Islamorada Fish Company is a chain with 18 restaurants all over the country, owned by Bass Pro Shops, it actually originated right here, way back in 1948. On the way back to Fiesta Key, we stopped by Anne's Beach, located at the very end of Lower Metacomb, which is the last island of Islamorada and the one right before Fiesta Key. Let's just relax by the water and fly the drone. In my memory, I recall this place as being a much better beach than it really is. But really, little known fact, the Florida Keys are not famous for their beaches. And Anne's Beach is no exception. The Keys, however, are famous for their sunsets. And this one is no exception either. It is quite beautiful.
We're breathing pure air of the Atlantic Ocean. It's quite relaxing.
We are back at the campground, and as you can see, it is a lot more crowded. I think we can expect music and partying until quiet hours, if they even enforce quiet hours tonight. It is July the 3rd, and people are already in that party mood, especially the Miami crowd, which is, I would say, 90% of the people here. Yep, we have some neighbors who have brought congas, claves, and even a cowbell. Party time. We passed by the restaurant, which is awfully quiet. They do close early, too early for my taste, but we get a beer at last call and have some fish dip, which is quite good. The pool is already closed at this time, with a chain. In the morning, we drive down to the lower keys. I read in FloridaRambler.com about this somewhat secluded kayaking spot in Summerland Key. So we are going to launch the inflatable boat. I thought that this somewhat secret place here would be good for swimming since it looked sandy on Google Maps, but it is not. The bottom is actually kind of muddy and full of weeds and jellyfish. Eesh, I don't know. We row for a while and then we fly the drone again. We drive into Big Pine Key and then into No Name Key. We are looking for this place called the No Name Pub, and looks like we have found it. It is a pretty uniquely decorated place with thousands of dollar bills stapled to the ceiling and the walls. Even though the place is famous for its pizza, we opt for the fish dip and the grouper sandwich. It wasn't a bad choice, but maybe we should have had the pizza. I don't know. The No Name Pub is mostly famous for the dollar bills and being so off the beaten path. And it is a unique place, and no doubt about it. We continue going back to the northeast. Here we see the old railroad bridge and one of the most coveted places in the Keys, Bahia State Park. You'll have to reserve this one 1 year in advance. That's how popular it is. And they are supposed to have a pretty decent beach. Let's see what this is. Well, what do you know? Another little beach. This one is called Veterans Memorial Park. After Veterans Memorial Park, we go across the 7-mile bridge. To the left, we see historic Pigeon Key, originally a work camp for the workers when they were building the original railroad. And the island ahead, that's Marathon. We decide to check out Sombrero Beach here in Marathon. This is where they are going to have the 4th of July fireworks tonight. It is a very festive atmosphere with a bunch of people barbecuing. Let's go see this other area here. It is actually a pretty decent beach for the Keys. As you know, the Keys are not particularly famous for their sandy beaches at all. You know what really pisses me off? Disrespectful people. Someone has actually parked their huge truck in front of our patio area. Not cool. Not cool at all. You know what? It is overcrowded. The pool is a wild party. I don't even want to think what's in the water in there. And the staff, very rude. As night falls, we barely get to see the Islamorada fireworks from the campground. We were gonna go to Marathon, but we changed our minds. "7 a.m. Let's get out of here before everybody else wakes up." Yeah, believe it or not, someone has parked a car pretty much blocking the dump station. You know what? I'm not a fan of this Fiesta Key. I don't think I'm coming back, ever. Even though it was cheap for the Keys, it was just over $60 a night for water and electric with our 1,000 Trails discount, because it is an Anchor property, so we get a discount. But nah, not worth the aggravation. As I said in a previous video, there are 30 other campgrounds in the Florida Keys. No need to come back to this one. We ride into the sunrise. I'm going to stop briefly here by Indian Key State Park to check it out as a potential camping site, but the terrain is a lot rougher than I expected, so no good for the RV. We'll be lucky to get out of here in one piece. That's all, folks. Do remember to subscribe, and if you liked it, give me a thumbs up and share with your friends and comment below. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so follow me there too if you will, and visit the blog at roadnomad.com. Join the mailing list. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road. I'm riding with my RV. Wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. Yeah, I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my